I'm going to mention a story that I heard on one of those fancy schmancy shopping channels. Don't get me wrong, they're fun to watch, but if you're not careful, you know where I'm going with this. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute and I'll share what I'm talking about. Back in a minute. Good morning. This is Jan from New York City, and my channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. And I truly love, love, love helping everybody keep some more of their own hard earned money. The three key words hard earned money. Never, ever, ever forget that. I'm just saying, just saying. Listen, I want to talk to you today about an interesting thing. I found it interesting. Now, every year during the holiday season, for fun, I like to view those like three-letter channels, the shopping type of channels, just really basically for fun, and to also get some inspirational ideas to see what people are interested in these days, maybe updated electronics, just to be familiar with names and just to get, to keep current on certain things. And it's just fun to watch all the joyful faces and all that fun stuff. But the good news is in my case, I really do have a very strong sales resistance. So anyway, so they were on one of the segments recently, they were selling this fancy schmancy apple. Now I got to tell you, I had this apple years and years ago when actually it was given to me as a gift about like in the 90s. Okay. Our boss used to give out those apples. And at that time, you were practically only able to get them really in Bloomingdale's, I think, at that time. So this was like a gift for the office, whatever. Personally, me, Janet, to me, I find I'm not a sweets fan, so you can't judge by me. But for other people, they were in their glory. Okay. So they were advertising that special apple, except the larger size apple at a discount. And this apple is smothered in all sorts of treats. It's like hard to believe that anybody could fit so many treats outside of an apple. But anyway, that's its own show. So it was fun, watching the people and, the sellers and explaining, how specially they are made. So the host of that specific show was mentioning how he had given to a neighbor one of those apples as a gift in a matter of thanking them for whatever favor it was that neighbor was doing for that person, for that TV show host. And so he, as a nice little gratuity, sent these apples, candy covered apples, as a special gift. So later on, at some point, he gets a message or somehow finds out from the neighbor that this neighbor was not just thankful because the apple tasted delicious, they loved it, but would you believe this? This was about the only time that in a long time that neighbor's family, they cut up that big old apple that was smothered in ooey gooey and candy, cut it up into like many, many pieces. And it brought their family together, and they sat down like a family at the same time eating the apple. And they had a wonderful time. So what they were trying to demonstrate wasn't only about the apple, it was about the experience. The experience. It just so happened the apple was the thing that brought them in that room, and they all sat down together and they didn't even look at their devices, their phones, everything took a back seat because the family was just hanging out, having fun, laughing. I said to myself, my gosh, is this like considered a novelty? Keep in mind, I'm a baby boomer, so I'm an older person. So for me, gathering around the table with your family every day was in my life, and I can't say it's going to be for everyone. That was just normal. That was just like normal. We sat down, we sat at the same table. The people did not eat in shifts, if you will. We gathered as a family and asked each other, "How was your day?" Parents would ask, "How was school?" Of course, the kids said, "Okay." "What did you learn?" "Nothing." But I was absolutely shocked that, I mean, it was a nice story. It was a beautiful story. In fact, one of the kids of the family said, "Could we get another apple?" "Why?" "So that we could sit around and talk again." I'm like, Okay. So for me, this is telling me a lot. Telling me a lot. It's telling me that there is a yearning out there for people to gather, for people to sit, and for people to talk to each other in the flesh. Now, you may only be a family of two. Isn't it nice at the end of the day? How was your day? Hmm. Those are nice questions because that shows consideration and thoughtfulness, not just people that they rush home from work, they gobble down a quick meal, whatever, and then they're racing over who goes to one room to watch their TV, who goes to another room to just hang out on their computer. And then maybe at the end of the day, they'll wave at each other. Good night. Just say, what is going on? I'm sorry that I said I have to make a video about this. I never thought that the day would come that it would be considered a novelty to sit down with your family. Now, I get it. It is different today. Keep in mind, back in the olden days, many people worked 9 to 5, okay? There weren't that many, like, later on shifts. I know this is like a hard concept to somebody younger, but trust me on that. The days back in the days when I was a kid, really literally wound down for even in the city, even here in the city, where people say the city never sleeps. Well, the city slept a little more back in the 1960s because it wasn't. We even had like less stores open on a Sunday back in the 1960s. People needed this time for personal things, for religious reasons, for spending also time with their family. Have you ever heard people say, well, Sunday is family day? Well, that is a nice concept. Sunday is family day. Well, I'm sorry. Every day is family day. I am saddened that people found that this is a novel idea, but because things have changed in society today and everybody seems to be working, to keep their heads above water, I get that. But I also learned something. Man, was I fortunate. I do not take it for granted. Thank you, thank you, thank you, dear Lord. I'm so happy I had that. But I also instilled that in my own daughter. At the end of the day, dinner time, we sat down, we had, our family time, and she does that, with her children as well. To me, it should not be a novelty. Hanging out with your family should not be a novelty. That's my opinion. Now, you could do it maybe through an electronic device if you live far away, because a lot of people have far away relatives. That's totally okay. Adjust it accordingly. Even if you sat down once in a while and just went on a video chat and shared a meal, even over video chat, you're still being a little personal that way, looking at each other's face, laughing and talking. Not as good as the real thing, of course, but it's better than not. We need to make sure we carve out family time. After all, with all the work that we do, we really should. We really should take good care of ourselves and our wonderful families. Just saying, just saying. Have a great day, everybody.